Welcome to Autism ADHD TV. It is the place to be for parents and professionals. I'm your host, Holly Blanc Moses, the mom psychologist who gets it. We dive into all kinds of important information like behavior, social skills, and learning. All right, let's get started. Hi, Cara. Welcome to the Autism ADHD podcast and Autism ADHD TV.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
We're so excited you're here. We've got such an important topic. Before we dive in, I'm going to introduce you real quick. So Cara is the public relations and social media coordinator at Paws with a Cause. She is a PR coordinator, marketing specialist, dog lover, and coffee enthusiast. We have so much in common. Cara has worked for Paws for a little over 3 years and has raised 2 Paws puppies in houses and 1 Paws mama dog. Her favorite part of her job is knowing that she is playing a small part in giving the gift of independence to people with disabilities.
Absolutely. Best job ever, right? Dogs and helping people. It doesn't get much better than that.
Does not. I think that sounds so amazing. I love that you're here with us today because, like I said, we've got lots of questions for you. Are you ready to dive right in?
I'm ready. Let's get this started.
All right, let's do it. What is the difference between a service dog and emotional support dog?
I love that you asked that question. I think that's a common misconception out there and something that people need to be educated on. An assistance dog is a dog that's trained to mitigate disability through task work. These dogs are accredited through ADA, the Americans with Disability Act. So that means that they are trained tasks such as opening a door or turning on a light switch, something that directly mitigates a disability. An emotional support animal is not accredited through ADA. They do not have public access rights, meaning they can't go to Target with you. Now they can have housing rights. So if you're in an apartment or somewhere that doesn't typically allow pets, they do have to allow your emotional support animal, but they aren't really trained to do any specific thing to help you. They just help with that emotional comfort.
Right. So that makes sense. So service dogs are allowed to go basically anywhere with the child, but the emotional support dog, I think it really just depends on the business or whatever they, allow within their store and that type of thing. And you mentioned emotional support dogs also can have housing rights.
Yes, absolutely. So, by law, they do not have any public access. As we're seeing more and more, businesses are becoming more dog friendly. So if the specific business allows you to bring your dog with you, that's fine, but you do not get access just because it's an emotional support animal, but they are allowed to be in housing with you.
Perfect. Okay. So next, how do you apply for a service dog?
Yes, each and every organization does it a little bit differently. Here at Paws with a Cause, we do operate on an open enrollment period. So about 3 months a year, we are on our open enrollment period right now until March 31st. You can visit our website, pawswithacause.org, and request an application. You fill that out. Then if you look like you may be a good fit, we'll contact you and send you another application that's a little bit more in depth. Then if it all looks good from there, we will come to your home and do a needs assessment, really making sure that we can serve you and that we will be a good fit for you and your family.
Oh, that is so wonderful. Okay, so you mentioned an open enrollment period is now.
Yes.
Great time for this video and podcast, right?
Yes, absolutely. Go to our website, check out the qualifications. If it looks like we'll be a good fit for you and your family, please apply. The open enrollment period did allow us to cut our wait time down. So before, when we were accepting applications all year round, we were looking at a 3 to 4 year wait list. And we wanted to be able to serve our clients sooner than that. Waiting 3 to 4 years is a long time, and we understand that. Now with the open enrollment period, we've gotten that down to about 18 to 24 months. Still not overnight, but what you are getting is a custom trained assistance dog, and we promise it is worth the wait.
Wow, that is such a difference in wait time. So that's wonderful. I love that you have that open enrollment period. That's perfect. Okay. So, speaking of going to see if your organization can fit that individual child, just like every therapist is not a fit for every child, the same thing, right? You want to make sure that you're a good fit because fit matters so much. So, what are some tasks that you mentioned tasks earlier? What are some things that a service dog can do to support a child with autism or autism and ADHD?
Absolutely. As I said, all of our dogs are custom trained, so we're constantly adding or tweaking tasks to fit the child. But some of our main ones are the dog will be taught a like restrictive, I guess it's not really a great word. The dog will be taught to stop when the child runs. So a lot of our clients, their children have a bolting behavior where they will tend to run off. How our dogs work is that the child will have a leash to the dog's cape. And when the child starts to run, the dog will stop and therefore stopping the child from running. Our dogs are also taught a smush command, which is silly, but it's awesome. And this is when the dog will actually lay on top of the child. So some of our clients use it when they go to dentist and doctor appointments. If the child is really overwhelmed, they'll bring the dog with them, and the dog will actually get up on the chair with the child and lay right on them. Or in a home sense, if the child is having a hard time, processing their emotions, having the dog there sitting on their lap, laying down with the kid, is another great way to kind of calm them down. Our dogs will also help with communication. Some of our clients are pretty nonverbal. And when they get their dog, they start to build on those communication skills, whether it's saying the dog's name or telling the dog to sit or stay or playing fetch. And teaching the dog responsibility and having the child learn how to connect with something else. One of our clients told the story that she walked into the kitchen and her son was on the counter and she's like, "What are you doing on the counter?" He said, "Oh, I'm getting a ball for Fluffy." Some people would be like, "Oh my gosh, why are you so happy that your son is doing that?" But she saw it as, "Oh my goodness, my son is putting someone else's needs above his own. He just wanted to get on that counter to get the tennis ball to give to Fluffy." Our dogs help in so many ways, but those are just a few that come to the top of my mind.
Absolutely. And, patients that I've had who have service dogs, it can make such a big difference for them. And you actually touched on something really interesting too. Children who have autism and or ADHD are more likely to experience anxiety. And it can be debilitating at times for them. I mean, being in environments that are difficult, being overwhelmed. I mean, there's just so many things happening for them. And so you mentioned being able to kind of smush, like you said, if someone needs that pressure, someone needs to feel connected or safe, that could be really helpful for anxiety. And so, do you have any other kind of ideas or tasks that a dog can help with anxiety?
Some of our clients report back just the like brushing the dog is very soothing for their child, as well as like playing with their ears. But also just having the dog is a huge sense of security for a lot of our clients. One of my very favorite clients, when he came in to get his paws dog, his mom explained that he is always wearing the sweater. We live in Michigan, so yes, it can be cold, but we also have really hot summers. And Cal was always wearing his sweater. He would sleep in it. He never took it off 24/7. And within 30 minutes of meeting his paws dog, Artie, he had already taken the sweater off because he felt safe enough. Just having this dog, they had just met. They hadn't even had a long time to bond, but he was like, "Nope, I have Artie now. The sweater's done." And when he was picking up his dog, his mom was just crying, telling us about it. And it's like, wow, these dogs make such impact right away that sometimes you can't even describe.
Oh, that's so wonderful. So he went from, feeling like he needed that safety, and then
Yes.
being able to have the dog to help him with anxiety. That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
And I would also imagine too, going into places like grocery stores and other places that can be sometimes overwhelming, that would help as well.
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the main things we hear back from our families that have a dog for children with autism is I can go to the grocery store now, or we can go out to eat as a family. And now that we have our dog, it's not a chore. It's something that is doable. I don't have to have one arm on the cart, one arm on my kid, and how if I take one hand off the other, I'm not going to be able to get my groceries. So things that I think a lot of people don't think about, can you imagine being grateful to go to the grocery store? But this is something that now that they have their paws dog, they're excited to go out, and just to be able to leave the house is a huge relief to a lot of our clients.
Definitely. And so really when we're talking about anxiety, we weren't just talking about the child, we were also talking about the family. And you had brought up an important point as well, is safety. Of course, when you have a child who is differently wired, when we at first, our son who we now adopted came to live with us, he would bolt and just go, go, go. And because I was a behavior expert, I was able to change that behavior really quickly, but it was incredibly scary at first, just a basic safety. And so how exciting it would be, and what a decrease in anxiety for the parent as well.
Yes, I love that we kind of are touching on this. Just because the dog is placed with the child, it has such an impact on the entire family. We've had multiple families report that it saved their marriages. They get to be a husband and wife couple again, and not so much as a caretaker. They have something other to talk about other than, the stress of what's going on in their household. We've had families actually be able to move back in together. One specific sense, the dad and the children had to go move in with grandma because the child with autism was not behaving appropriately around their other siblings, and they were able to come back as a family again. And restoring those relationships is just so vital, and I think something that a lot of people don't think about necessarily when they think about getting a paws dog.
Definitely. Oh, that's such a good point. How many hours does it typically take to train a service dog?
So not only does it take hours, it takes years to train an assistance dog at Paws. We place our dogs between 2.5 to 3 years old, and that training starts pretty much right when they're born. At Paws, we rely on volunteers to house our mama and papa dogs that give birth to our service dogs in the home. And even in those first 8 weeks, they're working on little things like, if you want attention, all 4 paws need to be on the floor, or if I'm going to feed you, you can't be jumping up. After that, they then move into volunteer foster puppy raiser homes, where they work on basic obedience and socialization for about 12 to 16 months before coming back to Paws for that finalized, really advanced training. So lots of hours, multiple years. It's not something that happens overnight.
Right. I should have said how many years, not how many hours. And really that's true when you think about, because right now, as I mentioned before we started recording, I have 2 puppies.
Yes.
I don't know what I was thinking with that. But training 2 puppies at the same time is really hard. So when you're talking about more advanced work, it makes sense that you're starting at the very beginning.
Yes, absolutely. And it's stuff that, you don't have to be a dog trainer to teach. So we're always looking for new volunteers. Teaching the dog sit and stay, and potty training, as we talked about before we started recording. That's super fun. But really just teaching the dog how to love, so then it can go on and love someone else.
Oh, that's so good. Okay, yes, because potty training I'm in the thick of it right now. So what is the typical cost of a service dog? Now that's something that comes up quite a bit in my parent Facebook group.
Absolutely. At Paws, we estimate that it takes about $35,000 to breed, raise, train, and place a single assistance dog. That being said, our Paws clients do not pay anything. We rely on generous donations from individuals and some small family grants mostly. So we're able to provide these dogs free of cost to our clients.
Yes. Oh, that's so amazing. What a great service.
Thank you.
Okay. Now here's the next one.
I'm ready.
Thanks for being so kind. I'm just peppering you with questions. But like I said, when I polled my audience, we had so many great questions come in. Here we go. does a child have to be a certain age to be able to have a service dog? So, in other words, is there a child that's too young, or do you suggest waiting until they are a certain age for them to have one?
Yeah, definitely. Again, each organization has a little bit of different guidelines and qualifications. Here at Paws, we will place dogs with children with autism between the ages of 4 and 12, and the child must be 7 before, or must be no older than 7 before they apply. And that's because we really see the most benefit to the child and to the family between that time range. Anything older than that, we aren't seeing as much of an impact, and anything younger than that, the child really isn't old enough to be able to grasp that bond and really completely understand, just like we said, the tasks and things like that. So that is the age range that we will serve. And the child applying before their 7th birthday is to ensure that we place them before they're 12 and with many years to be able to get that bond with their dog.
Yeah, and I think that makes a lot of sense because again, you're wanting to really be, it sounds like it's effective as
Yeah,
possible. And it sounds like that age range is really the ultimate time
absolutely.
for those that bonding and their benefit.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So once a dog is placed with a family, what type of training is there? Because there seems to be in my history of working with, again, it's like 23 years, so it's been a little bit. So there has been this kind of question where you get the dog and then that's it, right? Like there's no further training. But my understanding is that there is.
At Paws, absolutely. That's another thing that makes us really unique is that we have field representatives across the country that work with our clients once they receive the dog. So we don't give you the dog and then just say, bye, good luck. We are really there to make sure that you are a good working team. So our field representatives will then go into the home with you and work with the handler and the child for about 6 to 8 months to make sure that they are a really good working team. We like to say that we've trained the dog, but now we need to train the humans. The dog knows what it's supposed to do, but it's a whole nother thing to learn how to get the dog to do what you want it to do. So we have clients or field representatives that go in to help with that. And then even after the clients are certified, we're going in every other year and recertifying, making sure the dog is still doing what it's supposed to do. And we check up on our clients annually. But to be honest, we have a really good relationship with a lot of our clients. So we talk to them way more than on an annual basis.
Yes, and that's wonderful. Like you said, it's not here you go. It
Yeah.
is a lot of cross training and it sounds like even checking in. So that's wonderful.
Absolutely. We pride ourselves on finding that perfect match for our clients and our dogs. And we want the client and the dog to both be happy in their placement. So we work to the best of our ability to make sure that that's what's happening.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay. So we touched on this a little bit earlier, but we mentioned kind of wait time for a service dog, and you said it really just depends on the organization. That also you have this new open enrollment period that has really cut down on that waiting.
Absolutely. So at Paws, our wait time is about 12 to 24 months, 18 to 24 months. It really depends on the dog. Like I said, we're looking for that custom perfect match. And sometimes we're able to find that a little bit more quickly, or sometimes we have to wait it out and see. We have a dog that would fit, but we have this dog that just came in and we think they're just going to be perfect, but that means it's going to be 6 more months. And to us, that's important to find that perfect fit for our clients.
Right. And I completely agree. I've been not with your organization, but in history, a few of my clients have been placed with dogs that weren't the best matches. And it ended up causing stress for the family and the child.
Absolutely.
And then some other organizations who really took a little bit longer to match were actually much, much better.
Yeah,
So
it's definitely worth the wait.
yeah, of course, it's so hard to wait,
Oh, yeah.
but knowing that to get that match really is so, so important. So I love that you
Mhm.
brought that up. Okay, now this is another one. it's not always easy, period, for families, right?
Uh,
But some families actually have two children, or maybe even more than two children who have special needs in the home. So how would that work if you have two or more children with special needs in one family?
I think that's really interesting. At Paws, to my knowledge, we have not come across an instance where we've placed multiple dogs for children with autism in a home. Um, Typically, our policy is that you can only have one dog in the home. So if you had an assistance dog, you cannot also have a what we call a pet dog. And that's because we want the bonding to be really strong. Now, it's different for like if you needed a guide dog and your husband needed a service dog or an assistance dog, we will place that. And so that makes me think possibly for service dogs with autism, it would be the same thing because you are really, you want the bond to be to one person. So I think it would mean multiple dogs in the home because you would want Fluffy to be yours and Fancy to be someone else's. That's a really good question that I don't have a direct answer to, but that's how I think it would play
Well, actually, you did answer it. So
out.
I think that's a great answer because it makes a lot of sense. We're talking about that dog is matched for that person,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So if you have one dog for more than one person, that probably isn't going to be as effective.
No, probably not.
Got it. Okay. Something I did want to say, and it's more of a statement, not so much a question for you. And what I found in my experience is yet another wonderful reason for a service dog is a lot of my patients struggle with social skills, social interaction, how do you start a conversation, all of these things. And I found that when children have social, they actually progress socially because the dog is like a peer magnet.
Oh, absolutely. We hear that from our clients for children with autism, but also, our clients across the board. One of our clients is in a wheelchair, and she said before getting Sawyer, people would look at me and go, "Oh," but now that I have Sawyer, they look at him and go, "Wow," and they want to learn more. Instead of steering away from me, they're really encouraged to come up to her. And we've also heard that for our children with autism as well. Some of our clients refer to their dogs as superheroes and people want to come up and talk about their dog, and I think it's it makes things easier. They don't have to focus on themselves, right? They can talk about what their dog is doing, and I think that's a bridge into the world that so many of us live in, and the Paws dogs help in so many more ways than just ways that we can visually see.
I agree because it's difficult. Like you said, I like that you used that example, a bridge,
Mhm.
because to start a conversation or, think about what to say or what to ask, here is that bridge. When children come up and they're interested and the child who owns that dog has a great place to start talking, or
Absolutely.
communicating about that dog. It's just really a cool opportunity. Okay. So I did get another question that I want to address that we don't really have the answer to. I know that sounds strange, but just bear with me. And it was a great question. So there was a question from my Facebook group of, can a service dog be considered a medical expense or an educational expense? Or can it be a tax deduction? And so, I don't have the answer to that. It's an excellent question. And so that would be a great question for a good accountant. I wondered if you had any thoughts about that.
Yeah, again, I think it depends on what organization you're going through. At Paws, these dogs are placed for free to our clients, so you don't have to worry about that. We don't receive any insurance or government aid. It is all from individual donors. That being said, I'm not quite sure how it works for people that choose to go through organizations that, some make you fundraise or have you fundraise, or some it's just a pay, it's not a nonprofit. So as you said, Holly, I think that's a great question for someone who is an accountant or deals with the money side of things. And just to do your research, make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into and the expectations, and maybe you can find an organization that places dogs free of charge in your area. So you don't have to worry about that.
Right. And I think ultimately that would be the best way to go.
Yes, I would agree.
Okay, so this is another good one. We're going to end on this one. It's a little complicated, and it's a specific question asked by one of my members, and I thought it was excellent. So the question was, there are some organizations out there that say they train puppies like service dogs. So they're not service dogs, but they're like service dogs. And the wait lists are shorter, the cost is lower. And, obviously we want to make great decisions. We want the best for our children, but we also want to be really smart about it, and how we move forward. And cost is something to think about, and waiting is something to think about. So how do you go about vetting these organizations that it may not be technically a service dog, but they say they train them like service dogs?
I think you have to be careful. We all hear these stories about someone who fundraised $10,000 and then the dog they got was not at all what they thought they were going to get. We always recommend people that are interested in getting an assistance dog to check out Assistance Dogs International. They have a compiled list of organizations that serve your specific area that have been accredited. No matter which route you go, we always suggest that you find an accredited organization. Many are low cost or completely funded thanks to donors. And the wait time can be a little bit longer, but as we spoke about earlier, you're getting that match and you know what you're getting is really of the highest quality assistance dog. And as you said, we all want what's best for our children. So I would just really encourage people to do their research and to check out Assistance Dogs International to find an accredited organization. And that way you'll know moving forward you are doing what's best in the sense of an assistance dog for your child.
Perfect. I love that. So going there, checking it out, vetting the organization that way, that's excellent work.
Absolutely.
So what we want to do also, and I know that people are saying, okay, how do we learn more about Paws with a Cause? People who are listening, people who are watching on Autism ADHD TV. So why don't you tell us how to do that, Cara?
Yes, please come and learn more about us. We are connected all over the internet. You can find us at pawswithacause.org. That is a great resource for lots of information about our organization, ways to get involved, and more information on receiving an assistance dog, specifically a service dog for children with autism. Like I said, we are on our open enrollment period until March 31st. So you could go ahead and apply if it's something you're interested in. But remember, we do have a wait list, so it will not happen overnight. You can also find us on Facebook. We have a lot of fun and informational content on there, as well as LinkedIn and Instagram. We love to connect with people, so please find us or share about us to someone that may need us as a resource.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, and I will make sure that Paws with a Cause links are in the show notes so they can easily grab them there as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Holly.
Okay, Cara, thank you so much again for coming on and speaking with us. I know that so many people have just gotten so much value. I know I have from our talk today.
Thank you. We love to, share the news about Paws, and hopefully we can connect you or give you some more information that would be helpful in your day-to-day life.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Cara. You take care.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future episodes. If you like this episode, please share it with someone. It may just be what they need to watch today. If you're a parent, I'd love if you came on over and joined our Facebook group, Autism ADHD Group for Parents. If you're a therapist or educator, come on over to our group, Autism ADHD group for therapists and educators. You're going to find those links right down there in the notes. Thanks so much, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode.
All content provided is protected under applicable copyright, patent, trademark, and other proprietary rights. All content is provided for informational and educational purposes only. No content is intended to be a substitute for professional medical or psychological diagnosis, advice, or treatment. Information provided does not create an agreement for service between Holly Blanc Moses Crossvine Clinical Group, the interviewee, Holly Blanc Moses LLC, and the recipient. Consult your physician regarding the applicability of any opinions or recommendations with respect to your symptoms or medical condition or the symptoms or medical condition of your family member. Children or adults who show signs of dangerous behavior toward themselves and/or others should be placed immediately under the care of a qualified professional.